Hello, everybody. This is Mo with the Alan Mo Show. Exciting times. We're recording our second episode. Al, how you doing? Looks like you're well refreshed back from vacation.
I'm doing well, Mo. It's always good to go on vacation, but it's even better to get back.
So that's good. It's always good to come back. I'm actually enjoying my coffee this morning. Al, while you're on vacation, I bought this new espresso machine with all the bells and whistles. I mean, I'm like a barista now. The only difference between me and a barista is I don't have $400,000 worth of student loans that I got to pay off.
Uh, I'm
But
going to send you the green apron. You'll even look even better. So you'll be good.
So, Al, this is really exciting. Everyone, we've got Dr. Elizabeth Bergey with us from Quantum Imaging. Dr. Bergey, welcome. It's very exciting to have you on here.
Thank you very
Yes,
much.
yes, thank you, Dr. Bergey. But what else is really interesting with quantum, and this is why we have Dr. Bergey, is they're physicians and software developers, and they've developed a new solution application that we're going to talk about today, and Dr. Bergey is going to give us some insights to, called Helix, that really is focused on the radiologist and how to really create a good work-life balance and really create efficiency within your radiology group. So Dr. Bergey, welcome. Maybe you can give us a little background about yourself, quantum, et cetera.
Sure, thanks. I've been president and CEO of Quantum for about 14 years, almost 15 now. And we've grown a lot during that time period and developed some problems along the way, like, everybody else and that's trying to do business in our changing healthcare world. So we, go out in the market, try to find solutions to some of our problems. And from time to time, we can't find it, that what we want. And so we decided to start to build our own products to first solve our own problems and then commercialize them to share.
Maybe you can describe a little bit about Helix, pace and balance, the two components of that.
Sure. So Helix is kind of like the sweet name. Pace is a product that we developed many years ago and used internally for a long time before we commercialized it. And it's basically leverages the Hawthorne effect, which is what is measured improves. And it's an RVU based product that can be used either behind the scenes as a pure analytic package, or to use the Hawthorne effect to put in front of radiologists to set an expectation for their production in a specific role. And it can be it can accommodate different people in different roles. For example, somebody who reads a lot of plain films, like we have a couple of those older guys in our practice that read a lot of plain films, or somebody that reads a lot of cross-sectional, it will adjust for those kind of different RVUs kind of packages coming in terms of, the cross-sectional big packages and the diagnostic x-rays are small. So it then has a reporting software that's pretty robust that includes per day compared to everyone else, quarterly, yearly, to try to get, and it's very transparent. So our practice has become very transparent in the way that we report on all of our data. And so it kind of gives our radiologists confidence that, number one, the practice is responsible in its management. Number two, it identifies areas of improvement that are clearly actionable, and we have acted on them. And I'm not talking about just like, oh, you're not performing, but more like, where does this guy fit best? That's,
Right.
How can we make him successful? I mean, that's how we think about it. Like, how do we improve the overall success of the corporation by, all the way down to an individual level?
Excellent. So Dr. Berg, if you think about today, some of the challenges, the biggest challenges of radiologists today, and we're going to talk about balance in this, component is, how do you feel balance helps with those challenges? What do you feel how that helps them?
So balance is a workflow orchestrator. It's extremely sophisticated. It works completely differently than any other product that we've seen. All the other products are basically leveraging the old technology of a list, right? So a case comes in and it's put in a list. Now, those lists can be filtered different ways, but it's still basically put away and not thought about It may change color as it starts to age, but not much generally happens to it after it's been put in the list. And to go through all those permutations of putting it in the list can take it can use a lot of brain power for the system and actually cause delays and perceptible delays by the radiologist. So ours doesn't do that. It brings the case in from multiple dispatches, a consolidated product, so you can have different pack sending or different modalities sending or different sites sending, whatever. It will bring the images in and hold them, and then basically imagine like percolating up. So a case has certain parameters where it comes from, what the service level agreements require, et cetera, and the brain says, okay, it needs to go out now, and now who in this moment in time is available to read it, who's the best fit for it right now. So if somebody's out taking care of a contrast reaction and not available, it's not going to even consider them. Doesn't put it in a list where it's going to be ignored because somebody's not there. It's very dynamic, and that's kind of the way we're thinking about healthcare is dynamic, right? Stuff's happening all the time. People are sick. We have to leave. We can't just be, there's people bothering us or asking us questions. We might have to go check something in the scanner. You don't want something that needs to be read right now sitting in a queue. So and we've taken into consideration additional modifiers for each exam. So it's not just CPT or exam description. Now we also consider patient age, for example. That's obvious, like a pediatric patient going to a pediatric radiologist. But more sophisticated than that, we can do referring physician and send all the neurosurgical post-op patients to a neuroradiologist. We can say, oh, this is an older patient. Those tend to take longer to read. So we better get that out sooner than we would have otherwise maybe distributed it, because it's anticipated it's going to take longer to read. So those kind of ability to dial in how long something's going to take to read, and therefore when it should come out, has really improved our turnaround times about 20%. What is the next case they should be reading? And there may be 1,000 cases on a complex list like ours, and to sort through it and figure it out, that takes time. So now they don't think about it, and it's been actually a stress reliever for the vast majority of the practice, so they don't have to think about that.
Excellent. Mel, I have one question for you.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Al.
Dr. Bergey, you mentioned in the beginning the balance portion was based on RVU values, and we know those RVU values are 40 some years ago they were developed, right? You intentionally kind of re-looked at those values and manipulated them, I'll call it, or changed them. Can you explain a little bit what you did with that?
So PACE is RVU based, and that's as long as we're being paid by RVU, we have to keep track of it, right? I mean, it'd be irresponsible to just say, oh, well, we don't need them anymore because, they're not good. Well, there's been papers out about the relative concordance between the time it takes and the credit given, which is the fundamental problem with cherry picking, right? If everything was given proper credit, nobody would want to cherry pick, right? So there'd be no incentive to do so. And we're not paying people based on their production during the day. And so with any kind of bonus or anything. So there's no incentive for this. There's just something about, I don't know, just don't want to deal with that case, especially when you're not going to get proper credit for it. So we still use it, still keep track of it, but in balance, we've actually become time-based. So getting rid of a metric that's really kind of flawed, and everybody accepts that it is, we can normalize it, so we can actually correct for the time, so we can, at least for overall, it doesn't take into account age. PACE doesn't take into account age. It's just a RVU based tally. But balance takes into account patient age, referring physician, place of service, patient acuity, all these other details that we as radiologists know will affect our interpretation times.
That's amazing.
What's interesting, Doctor, and that's perfect, Dr. Bergey, and I think that's critical now, as you said, there's a shortage of radiologists, across the globe, and how do you attract that talent, right? The one thing about PACE, and this is one of the questions I had about you, you talked a little bit about the tools that leadership administration can use. How did you use the data to show radiologists the benefit in this solution, right? How did you get them to buy in, is basically what I'm asking.
Right. So first of all, we had a 20% increase in production, and that, we monetized that, right? Turned it into money, and that's compelling, to be honest. And that's the money side of it. But now when you can't
Right.
even get those radiologists, right? So now all of a sudden our turnaround times are improving too. So and honestly, quality metrics are, as far as interpretation accuracy, are very difficult in radiology. And we audit at Quantum 4%, which is twice the ACR recommended for all of our radiologists. But interpretation accuracy is very difficult. So one of the best and most objective quality metrics in radiology is turnaround time. So showing them improvements in turnaround time, that they saw the value right away.
Well, Dr. Bergey, I think this has been a great discussion, and just a couple of points. This solution can be applied to any PAC system, correct?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's vendor neutral.
Excellent. That's perfect. Because I think as you look at the, I'll say the environment that's out there in the landscape of, PACs today, there's so many different vendors out there, and you want to be able to apply this on top of that to get those efficiency gains, which I think is really important.
But one more thing
mention
about that though.
Yeah, go
So
ahead.
it's not only just vendor neutral, it's also neutral to either a PACS driven or a risk/EMR kind of driven workflow, either way.
Right, which is important today because it's like chocolate and vanilla. Who likes that today, right? Dr. Bergey, I really appreciate your time. This has been really informative. I do believe the Helix Pace and Balance solution has a ton of advantages for any group that's out there, a hospital that's looking to, create a more efficient way to do enterprise imaging. So I really appreciate your time. Mo, I know you have some closing questions for Dr. Bergey.
Again, Dr. Bergey, thank you very much. This was great. So RSNA is coming up. FIDEM Interop is a partner of Quantum, and we will have Helix Pace and Balance on demo at our booth 6649 in the North Hall. There'll be some links down below for you to click on, make an appointment to come out and see the demo, or just swing by our booth. Don't forget, I've mentioned before, we're going to be having an event. Space is limited. It's filling up. It's going to be Monday, November 27th from 6 to 8 p.m. At a great little place in the South Loop here where the McCormick place is at. This is my neighborhood, and it's a little Italian place, but Dr. Bergey will be there. Al will be there. We'll be there. Al will give you tips on pickleball. Al, pickleball champion right here.
That's true. Hey, we want to bring your paddle. We're ready to play.